triple minnow spoon, guys, and it looked huge, although we were going 3.3 miles an hour.
Still look big.
So everything looks big at
3.3.
Keep reeling. He might be big.
He's
I'm
reacting.
not turning, no, sir.
No, just keep turning.
Okay.
There he is.
Oh,
See him?
lightning.
Yep, it's a big old lightning.
Nice.
See him.
Lightning trout on the crippled minnow spoon, guys. Power trolling first thing in the morning. Didn't get better than that. Okay, now start. Let's get your tip up. Woo! Yeah, baby.
Nice.
Now we're talking.
Woo! Good job.
Get his good side.
Big lightning trout, guys. Yeah, go take a picture of it. Put your fingers right now. Like that? Yeah. Rainbow pattern crippled minnow, guys. Right there, rolling it fast. Fast and aggressive. Money.
All right, got two of them.
Howdy guys, Cal Kellogg here. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk trout fishing tactics. That trout you saw caught in the beginning of this video, that was a big old lightning trout. We were trolling one of my rolling spoons, a crippled minnow spoon, first thing in the morning at about 3 miles an hour, and that trout absolutely pounced on that fast moving spoon. So I want to talk about power trolling, okay? Let's think about black bass anglers for a second. Those guys, they have a much better grasp on what goes on in the lakes than most trout anglers. They can quickly, predict the movements of the fish, and they tailor their tactics to exploit what the fish are doing at any given time. Those guys know that when, you have early morning conditions, late evening conditions, overcast skies or a lot of wind, that some bass, the most aggressive bass, they tend to move up in the water column and they tend to move towards shore or towards structure, and they get in there, they tempt those fish with very aggressive tactics. They're trying to prompt, reaction strikes with swim baits, rip baits, chatter baits, stuff that they can fish quickly, stuff that makes a lot of vibration, puts off a lot of flash. They know they've got fish in these key locations that are keyed up. They want to chase, they want to feed, so they give them something that presses all those buttons and makes them react, and they grab that rip bait or whatever it happens to be. Well, trout have the same daily movement patterns as bass. They live in the same environment. They live in the same reservoirs. They live by the same rules by and large. They eat the same forage by and large. So early in the day, late in the day, when it's overcast and when you've got a fair amount of wind, you can count on the most aggressive trout to move up in the water column and to move onto structure, okay? Now, the surface temperature plays a role in how shallow a trout will go. If you've got a surface temperature that's, anywhere from 65 to 67 degrees or less, you can bet, the bank that there are going to be some rainbow trout just under the surface chop and rainbow trout right up on the shoreline, provided you don't have glassy conditions or really bright conditions. So, early, late, overcast, and when you have wind, that's when you're looking for those aggressive strikes. Now, whether I'm fishing a lake that I know intimately well, like Collins Lake, or a lake that I've never fished before, or a lake that I haven't fished in a long time, I like to start off the day with, power trolling tactics. I like my lures moving, 2.5 miles an hour or more, preferably around 3 miles an hour. That allows me to cover a maximum amount of ground. I get to expose those lures to the most aggressive fish in the lake at that given time. And it also points me down the road for success later when, the power trolling bite tapers off. I have to slow down. I will have been able to identify some areas where the fish were holding, where I got strikes, where I saw marks, and I can kind of pull off a little bit, slow down, downsize, and continue catching fish. That's what the black bass guys do. They start off the day, top waters, rip baits, stuff like that. When that bite dies, they fall back offshore a little bit and they start throwing the soft plastics. They start throwing the finesse stuff. They start working the drop shot rigs and stuff like that. Come afternoon, if they get big wind, they might go right back to that rip bait, right back in the same place they started off the day in the morning, where they caught a few fish being aggressive then. So I have 4 lures that I really rely on when I hit the lake first thing in the morning and I want to cover ground, I want to move fast, and I want to identify areas that are holding fish. So, and here they are, okay? Number 1, here are my lures. Number 1 is the trolling fly. I use trolling flies a lot. I troll them at all different speeds, but in this case, that is a Magnum metalhead or a broken back metalhead, depending on the lake I'm fishing. If I've got really big predatory trout that feed on bait fish, I'm going to be going with that broken back metalhead. They troll extremely well in that 3 to 4 mile an hour range. Tons of vibration, something the fish haven't seen before, and it's got a big number 2 or number 4 size J hook on there, so when you hook them, you can hold them. Absolutely deadly for power trolling, the Magnum metalhead or the broken back metalhead. Now, the other lures I pull are all spoons, okay? Let's start off with my speed spoon. This is my version of a speedy shiner. I think it's better, it's heavier. You could troll it just as fast. You can also cast and jig this spoon. Deadly on big fish. I've caught fish at Collins Lake up to about 8 pounds on the speed spoon this year. I pulled this one out. Let me turn it around here so you can see it. It is copper. That is an underfished color, whether you're pulling my speed spoons or the speedy shiner. Get some copper ones. In my opinion, the copper speedy outperforms the chrome speedy, and it's probably true for my speed spoon as well. There's something about that copper color that just turns big predators on, whether we're talking trout or landlocked king salmon. So you want some of those lures in the copper finish like that. And I brought this other one out just for fun. It is one of my Pro Color speed spoons. It looks like a shad. It's got that dark over light coloration. It's a deal closer. Enough said. Troll that, 2.8 or faster. Troll it in those shallow water areas. Troll it adjacent to structure. And if there's an aggressive trout up there looking to go, a trout that feeds on bait fish looking to go, there is a very good chance they're going to pounce on that spoon. If you want to go a hair slower, say you want to go 2.5 to 2.7, the standard trigger spoon is a good lure for medium and fast speed trolling. So if you want to hit that kind of medium speed range, if that constitutes power trolling as your home lake, don't hesitate to pull the Pro Finish triggers or the standard finish triggers. And last but not least, this is a spoon that no one else has. It is the Crippled Minnow rolling spoon. It's a little bit, the action is a little bit like the Brad's bait, but you control this much faster because it's made out of metal. All the finishes work. I like to run rainbow, trout, and watermelon a lot at bait fish lakes. If I've got stained water or if I'm up in the Sierras, I'll often run that Fire Tiger or some of the other bright offerings. But that is a very overlooked spoon, a spoon that you control very aggressively, 2.8 to 3 miles an hour. It is rolling, it's putting out a ton of flash, a ton of vibration, and it's something most of the trout haven't seen before. So let's just recap a little bit, whether you're pulling my lures or Rapalas or whatever you got. Power trolling, it works great early. It works great late. It works great when you've got overcast skies. The key ingredient there, low light conditions. The trout feel comfortable enough to move up, comfortable enough to move in tight to structure, because they don't feel in danger from predators when the light level is low. They feel confident enough to move into those key areas and feed. The other key time is when you have breeze. That post-lunch wind that you get that's really annoying to troll in, and a lot of people leave the lake, they're making a mistake. They're leaving the lake, they're leaving behind some of the best action of the day when you've got those white caps rolling around and they're pushing the boat and you're having to adjust the speed and you're bouncing all over. That is a great time to inch that speed back up to 3 miles an hour. Get out your metalhead, your crippled minnow spoon, your Rapala, whatever. Get aggressive under those conditions, and you're going to be yelling fish on, and you're apt to be catching some of the largest trout of the day. I'm Kel Kellogg. Take that advice to heart. I don't care if you're fishing in Northern California or Northern New Zealand. All trout react conditionally the same. If they're trout living in a lake or a reservoir, you want to get aggressive with them when the light level is low or when wind is busting up the surface of the water. Put that to use and thank me later. I'm Kel Kellogg. You have a wonderful day.